What up, YouTube? This your boy Big Mitch.
And the professor.
Hey, we told y'all we was gonna come to y'all with them questions from that game, Warden.
That's right. Hey, we did it, man. We did it. We delivered.
Hey, y'all gonna enjoy this show right here that we gonna have for y'all.
That's right. So get ready. Get ready to check us out.
And if you haven't, you got to hit that like.
Right.
And subscribe to the channel.
What you got to do, and once you do that, make sure you hit that notification button so you know when we coming at you, baby.
That's right. DB Crappie Fishing and Outdoors.
Peace.
What's up, YouTube?
What's going on, YouTube? We got the professor here.
This Big Mitch, and we have a special guest with us today.
All right, Lamar Burns, Georgia DNR Game Warden, Bibb County.
All right.
Facebook Live, we've been telling you he was coming. And those questions that you put out, we're going to place those questions for him. Hey, and let's get those answers.
That's right.
DB Crappie Fishing and Outdoors, YouTube. Let's get it.
All right. First question that we had, Mr. Burns, was from Derek Fulton. Is there a state limit of 8 or 9 inches?
There are limits of 8 and 9, but it depends on where your lake at. So every lake is different. Everybody's waters are different. So you gotta get our fishing guides, get our fish regulations, look at them, and it'll be very lake specific. So it all depends on where you're at.
All right. So Derek, the answer to your question number 1, because Derek had a couple of questions, was
yes.
We had the regulations, and yes.
It depends on the lake, right?
Depends on the lake.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next question we had from Elliot Smith.
1H.
1H. If you have a lifetime license, do you have to have them on you in person, or can it be shown on a cell phone?
You can use cell phone. We have, right now, Georgia DNR has a Go Outdoors Georgia app. On that app, you can download hunting license, fishing license, your harvest record for your deer, your turkey. As long as you got your cell phone, you can actually download your license and save it. So we encourage people to use the app. You can download your license, come up, open up that app. Everything you need is on that app. On that app. Show us your license, show us your harvest record. If it's time to buy a new license, you can do it. You can buy it on that.
It's a DNR app.
It's a DNR app.
So you can go to Play Store, or what's the iPhone?
You can go to Apple
Store,
Apple Store, or Google Play.
Google Play.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
Georgia Outdoors.
That's it.
Guys, if you can see that, that's the app that you would
we'll get Django will probably put it up behind us later.
Again, it'll probably be up on the screen. It'll probably be a link. It will be a link. The bottom of the screen, just you heard Mr. Burns.
If you get that app, say you're a whole lot of trouble. Because I say you can download everything. If you like to hunt,
right?
Whether it's deer, turkey, duck, it tells you what time sunrise is, what time sunset is. So if you're using that app, that keeps you out of trouble.
Powerful app.
Wow. Good information.
Okay.
Another question. Derek Fulton again. Here we go. It say, is stocking white crappie an option for Oconee and other lakes that don't have them?
That becomes based on fish population, based on the condition of the water, condition of the environment, and that's actually done through our other sister division, WRD, Wildlife Resource Division. They have a fisheries management, and they are the ones who go out, they study lakes, they study populations, they do all the stocking, all the breeding. They have different places, different hatcheries throughout the state that actually come out and say, okay, well, based on population, based on this, that, and the third, this lake or this body of water can sustain this type of fish or this number of fish, and then that's how they determine that.
Okay.
Oh, I got a
Go
question.
ahead. Yeah.
It's not on here, but I just had this question pop up.
No, we do.
Let's say, what if somebody had a lake, well, not a lake, a pond dug out,
Right.
and they wanted some fish for their pond?
If they want to do that, same thing. Go to your local hatchery, talk to them, say, hey, this is how big my pond is, because they have pretty much a mathematical solution. Tell you, okay, if your lake is this big, this many acres, et cetera, it could sustain this many fish of this type, this many fish of that type. But the resource is there. Just go to the local hatchery, depending on where you're at. You can Google it. You can go on the DNR website, find the local hatcheries near you, and just go by and say, hey, this is what I got. If you're in the Macon Bilberry, you can always go down to the Go Fish Center. Say, hey, this is what I got, and they have people that there that can say, hey, this is probably what you need to do.
Is there a charge for those fish?
It may be a charge for the fish, but no, as a state, I mean, we try to make everything cost friendly.
That's good. That's good.
You know who I was asking that question
Oh, yeah,
for.
yeah. That's some down home cooking.
Got to
you
look
talking
for
about.
checking out for more Dukes.
That's right. All right, our next question comes from Gregory Howard. Will the state of Georgia ever implement a size limit?
There are size limits in place now. Once again, it's based on where you're at. So every year, DNR puts out a sports fishing guide for sports fishing. It tells you everything you need to know as far as location, limits, sizes, what you can use, what you can't use, if that particular body of water use electric boat, gas only, whatever. But we do it every year. The book comes out every year. So what you get, if you got one this year, it ain't gonna be the same. Next year, something may be changed. It may be something small, maybe something big.
Right.
But just always get that regulation and check it out.
Sounds
As
good.
a game warden, same thing for us. We have to look into the regulation every year when it comes out. Did they change anything, add anything, so that way we can also make sure that we stopping people, checking folks.
Right.
No, we doing right by them too.
Okay. And that book you talked about, Sports Fishing, Georgia Sports Fishing 2020, that's what you were referring to, correct?
That's it.
You see that, guys? You go and pick this up. Has a lot of information about limits and records and different things of that nature. Check it out.
Absolutely.
Where can you pick one of these up from?
You can pick them up from, if you go into any state facility, most regional offices, they have them. You can go to, like Perry, you can go out to Flat Creek. If you go to Flat Creek, there's bulletin boards that have those free to the public.
Okay.
Right.
When they come out, local game wardens will have some in their truck. Different places that sell hunting and fishing license, I have them. I mean, they're all over
I
the place.
actually picked that one up from Walmart.
Yep. If they sell hunting and fishing license, most times they'll have a book. If not, there is a WRD fisheries office in Fort Valley.
Okay.
Nice to know.
All right. Yeah. Next question comes from Miss Lakeisha Jackson. Are docks lake property or owners? She trying to catch them crappie. She ain't trying to get killed.
All right. If you go to a lake, if you go to a lake and you go to a dock, docks are typically owned by the house. That's part of that person's property. There's some docks that are built by the state or built by the actual facility that you go to that are public for public access. But if there's one out behind somebody's house that's on a lake, like in Lake Tobosaki, and it's behind the house, that belongs to the person. That's gonna belong to the homeowner. So if you're gonna do that, there's nothing wrong with fishing off a dock. All you gotta do is just, if you know them, get permission.
Well, what if you're fishing in your boat? If you're in a boat, I don't like, let's say Tobosaka for instance, and I'm pulling up next to a dock.
You might want to shoot the
And I want to shoot the docks.
Right.
I can shoot the docks as long as I don't touch their dock.
Right.
Okay.
If you in your boat, you want to pull up next to a dock and fish next to one, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Cool. All right. Next question we got from Irvin Hill.
He died.
Yeah, man. Where have the latest fish been stocked? What lake? That's a broad question.
Honestly, you have lakes and fish that have been stocked all over the state. I couldn't tell you what lake specifically they've been at, but you do have Clarks Hill Lake, which is that lake is 71,000 acres. So they put fish there. You may
Derek Fulton been telling us about Clark Hill.
Clarks Hill Lake is one of the first lakes I started working at. 71,000 acres, and when they stock it, sometime it might be 1,000, sometime it might be 500. It just depends on what research and what has shown when they go out there and do their study that shows where they're at. That's why it's always important when they, as fishermen, if you get those surveys, hey, tell us how many, on occasion, how many fish you caught over the last so many years. All that stuff comes into play when they look at, okay, we might need to replenish, we might need to hold off every other year, every 3 years. It all depends.
Okay.
So be honest with you, they stocked all over the place. I couldn't tell you which one specifically because it's all based off rotation.
Now I have a question for you. Now this is a little bit off topic, but like you say, if they send us a survey, so if they send, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if everybody in DB Crappie Fishing and Outdoors got a survey, and they say how many fish you caught, if we put in our numbers of fish and how we caught them, especially with how
Right.
some of our members fish, then they gonna have to replenish everything around here because we supreme fishermen.
Say we do it.
Hey,
We
Ain't nothing wrong
fish,
there.
That's right.
especially I'm like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
We have Django 3000 local assassin. They catching fish.
Yeah.
The professor catch fish.
And it's all about being honest and transparent. That's the same reason why we tell folks when you go hunting to log in.
Right.
That's what log in your deer, because
Okay.
that gives DNR as a whole, that gives our biologists and those folks an idea of how many deer are being killed
Listen up, you
across the year, across the state. How many does, how many bucks,
Right.
and tells you what counties are doing good, what counties not doing so good. Because when you do your harvest check, you punch in your county, you punch in what what kind of deer you got. So when they send a survey in there, say, how many fish or whatever, or when you go to certain places, and there's a DNR person there, and they may stop you and say, how many fish you caught today?
Right.
What kind of fish you catch. That's all part of
So they normally log
right.
in.
That's all part of a study. So they know, well, this lake is doing good with this particular type of fish, or
Right.
this area is doing. So it all comes into effect. So if you want more fish or don't need so much fish, that's what it's all about.
Okay.
We have to get the information from the folks who out there on the ground doing it.
Well, check this out. I got a question.
Okay.
Following up on what you just talked about.
Mhm.
All right. Once you get this information, do you guys put fishing reports on the website for different lakes?
They do. There are different reports that you can get. The DNR website, we have 5-6 different divisions. But if you go on DNR website, if you click on the fishing link, click on the wildlife resource link, they'll have different information for you. Okay, this is how we're doing it, this, that, and the third.
Right.
It's always out there. And like I said, there's always your local region officers that go and say, hey, I'm just trying to figure out this, that, and the third. And they can usually provide you with that information.
Okay. And how often is it updated?
For most information is updated yearly. Some stuff is updated month to month,
Right.
but it does take time to calculate when you take into
Right.
account
Okay.
private state-owned properties, things like that. Folks on the river, this that, and the third. When it takes a while to calculate all the information from around the state.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Next question.
Okay.
Now this question coming all the way from the West Coast.
All right.
We got William Warren Moe. William Warren Moe, here's your question. Is there a limit on the number of fishing poles you can use?
Well, California, I don't know. But Georgia depends on where you're at. Some public fishing areas may say only two lines, 2 lines per person.
PFAs.
Right, on the PFAs. If you on the river, it could be whatever you want.
Right.
It all depends on location.
Okay.
Now, if you got Lake Toba and you running 4 lines, you running 4 lines. I mean, we see it happen everywhere you go, but it all depends on where you at. If it's a enclosed body of water, they may say, okay, look, it was only 2 lines per person, 3 lines per person, but it all depends on where you at.
It's always good to check on the lake that you're going
Check
to
on the lake
fish
you're going to, because you may go to one this week and there's really not a care about it. You go to Clark's Hill, that much water,
Right.
you can put a pole on every side of the boat, but you go to Dodge, PFA, and Eastman,
it's
2.
different.
That you can't have but 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And for the ones that don't know, when you say a PFA,
We're talking public fishing areas.
public fishing area.
And those other lakes have different regulations, right?
Right. Each one have different regulations. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, next question comes from a good buddy of ours, Kevin Dawson. He want to know what days are y'all off.
Kevin, we never off. We never off.
You got that, KD?
Game warden. There is a game warden on at all times.
All times.
All times. If I'm not working, there's somebody else that's working covering my area.
Right.
Game wardens, we don't keep as some people that done had run-ins with us in the mornings, late at night. We don't keep a regular 8 to 5. We don't keep a regular 7 to 11 hours. We're out based on activity.
Gotcha.
So if it's something going on, that's something that warrants a game warden to be out, there's somebody out.
Okay.
So if there's a season in, we gonna be out there.
And there's always a season.
And there's always
So
a season.
remember
Yeah,
that.
there's always a season. Absolutely.
All right.
I'm gonna let you get the next one, Professor.
Next question. All right. Next question is, we kind of tapped on it, but this is a particular lake. And Eddie Lewis wants to know, what is the minimum length for crappie on Lake Oconee?
Lake Oconee.
I guess, is there a minimum length, first of all?
Well-
and if so, what is it?
Okay, for Lake Oconee, to be honest with you, I don't work that area, but we can look and
Don't see a crappie.
and you don't see crap on there, so you good to go. But yeah, but like I said, this book,
Some people like to frown hard.
right? This book right here, if you get this book, anything you need to know about any particular body of water
Right.
in Georgia is gonna be in this book.
Okay. All right.
Next question came from our very own professor. He wanted to know, what type of man-made structures does the DNR put in lakes?
None really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have some lakes that, like for instance, we were talking earlier, Lake Tobosaki. There's a bridge in the water at Lake Tobosaki,
Right.
because of repair over the years and replacement.
Correct.
So, but as far as saying we putting this particular entrapment or this particular enclosure into a lake to help benefit, we don't. There's not a that I've seen. I haven't
Right.
seen a such thing when they put actual structure in. Now DNR does some particular places help with boat ramps and stuff like that. Know that we maintain some of that, but actually putting something down into the lake, I personally haven't seen it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do y'all have a listing of all the entrapments? And
If there was one, be in the book.
it's in the book. Okay.
There you go. All right. Next question.
It's in the book.
Comes from the man, Big Mitch.
All right.
Is there a list of different fish and limit requirements to keep them?
Yep.
Just found out.
Is it?
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Page
It's in the
12.
book. Page 12.
Page 12.
Golly.
Page 12 tell you your limits
Powerful
and your
book.
link.
Get the book. All right. The next question is coming from Django 3000.
All right.
Is it forbidden to drink alcohol on the lake?
Yes and no. If you're, and I use Bibb County since I'm here, Lake Tobosaki. The county has said that's a dry lake.
Right.
That's a county ordinance for that
lake.
because that's a county maintained, a county property,
Right.
the lake. But as a state, it's not against it. Now you can be charged for boating under the influence if you know what I'm saying, if you don't pass the standard field sobriety or whatever. But if you want to drink alcohol on lake, you can. You can drink alcohol on lake. But if you go to a county lake like Lake Tobosaki, you gotta be aware that particular lake is a dry lake.
Because as far as I know, it's basically the park is saying you can't.
Right,
have
the park
alcohol,
saying you can't. The
whether
park saying you
fishing
can't
or
have.
not fishing, so.
Exactly. And usually what happens as a game warden when we run into it on Lake Tobosaki, because it's a county ordinance and we're state officers, we advise them to get rid of it.
Right.
But it's something that as a state officer we can't. We don't enforce county and city ordinances.
Gotcha.
So, but if a Lake Tobosaki ranger comes out there, then you're a different story. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Got another one from Django.
Okay.
Is it a myth or truth that you catalog the lake?
Like I said, it's true that they do try to keep up with what's coming out.
Right.
So for the purpose of knowing about restocking and population and things like that. So they do try to keep up with what's going out. It's not to the extent of what some people probably think it is.
Right.
But there is, like I said, maybe they may send a survey out every couple of years or whatever. Hey, how over the last 3 years, how many fish do you think you've caught? Things like that. And that's just simply for the sake of research and knowing how to keep some of these lakes in different places stocked.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Next question is, can fishing's license be confiscated by the GDR?
Confiscated? Yes. I mean, if you what we call a habitual violator, then you can say, hey, we can recommend that your privileges be suspended. If you continue to be a habitual violator. It can depend on the type of offense that you've done, the number of times you've been stopped and given a ticket or talked to about it. Then that becomes one of those things, and we make those recommendations to our local judges. Hey, ban this person from this or ban this person from that. And sometimes we don't have to do it. If you have proactive lawyers and judges that work in certain counties and certain cities, they may take it upon themselves. This is going to be our recommendation. We're going to suspend your privileges for X amount of
fishing
months. Right. They may say, you can't fish for 2 years.
Gotcha.
So it all based on the precedent at the time.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, now I think this is a real important question that a lot of people would like to know the answer to. If brush piles are put out, will they need to be reported to the game warden?
Yes. I say yes, because that helps us let our counterparts know, our fisheries management know, hey, this was put here, so they can look and see if it does affect the population in a positive, negative way. I got asked this question just last week about Christmas trees on the lake,
Right.
and and my thing was, if that happens, then our fisheries department, they'll make that call if a lake or a certain location can withstand that. Now, when I worked on Clark Hill Lake, we used to encourage people, bring your Christmas trees to us, sit them in a pile, and then at some point, the Corps engineers or somebody would come out, take them out, and they had set locations based on research or whatever, and they dropped them, and they did.
Now, it's funny you say that. Now, the Corps engineers, that's different. That's apart from you guys.
That's apart from us. Corps engineers, that's becomes when you dealing with very big massive body of water, and infrastructure and things like that, like on the coast and down the Bronx, you got ships coming in now. So the Corps maintains a certain maintenance and kind of oversee certain parts there because of the infrastructure it's going to take.
Okay. All right. All right, Big Mitch, what you got?
Can cast nets be used to catch fish?
I hadn't seen a cast net used in a long time. That's going to depend. I would say in some of these areas, no. But if you went out to bigger bodies, like on the coast and things like that, you probably could do cast netting. I mean, most times you think about cast net, I'm thinking more so like shrimp and things like that. Fish, I mean, you could use for fish. I mean, commercial boats use nets and everything else to catch fish, but I just don't see where it'll be beneficial in some of these smaller bodies of water to do it.
Could we use them to catch?
Bait fish?
No, shad.
Yeah.
I catch our own minnows and stuff. Okay.
That'd be considered bait fish.
Yeah, bait fish. I hear what you said.
Okay. All right. Well, you basically just answered this next question about a commercial license being purchased. So we're going to move on to the next question, and that is, if we were to catch a certain amount of fish and we want to sell them, is that legal?
No.
No.
If you ain't licensed to do that, that's the same thing as somebody selling deer meat. You can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
All right.
It's illegal, and you can't get a commercial fish license to purchase fish. All right. Now here go the tickler.
All right.
What are the preventive measures for invasive species entering lakes, and what measures are used to remove them? Like that new fish, that snakehead with them little shark teeth.
The best way to prevent that is if you have something that's not native or something that's outside of the region. The best thing to do is to call DNR. Let DNR come out and take that off your hands, whether it's a certain type of fish, a certain type of pet, bird, or whatever, because that allows us to properly relocate it to properly get it to a place where it can be stored or rehabilitated somewhere else. And typically what happens is people get these things, they order them online, they go out of state, they take a cruise, they come back with something, and they realize it's too much to maintain, it's too much to handle, and they release it into the wild. They release it, and that's when you have hybrid this and hybrid that, and a certain type of bird this, and you run into those different things because that's what happens.
So basically, somebody created the snakehead fish.
I mean, I'm not saying it was created, but probably it is more likely was something that was introduced into this environment. No, somebody got it, had it somewhere, and it was introduced. That's no different than you see people talking about alligators on Lake Lanier.
Right.
But it's typically not there, but it's there because somebody had it, introduced it to that particular that body of water. It probably had it as a pet and shouldn't have had it. It got too big to maintain. Let me just go put it out here in the lake.
Like the iguanas that took
Right.
over in Florida and the pythons
Right.
down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what happens. And so that's the best thing. And when it comes to lake invasive species and weeds and stuff like that, that's why it's important to understand when they're draining lakes, when lakes being drained. Understand that's why lakes been drained, so that you can deal with removing certain grasses, certain weeds, applying the right chemical, the right balance, so that it doesn't hurt the water, hurt the fish.
Okay. Well, Mr. Lamar, we greatly appreciate it.
Yes,
The
sir.
folk asked for it.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
We brought it.
there you go.
Always, yes, sir.
So we really
Yeah.
thank you for coming
really
out.
appreciate it.
Anytime.
And we'll talk to you about if we need to hold some classes or whatnot.
Absolutely.
You'll be willing to help us
Yeah.
out. So we're gonna
Yeah.
more than likely gonna have you coming back.
Right.
That's right,
So
that's
right.
so this is DB Crappie Fishing and Outdoors on Big Mitch,
The professor,
and we got
All right.
Mr. Burns here.
heading on out of here.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Peace.
we out.